Hey, it's Pete. A familiar voice, hopefully. Anyway, I want to take a quick moment to highlight the amazing work of the team here at Your Money Line. A few years ago, we noticed this weird, nasty trend that people had financial questions, they had challenges, they had this missing piece to their financial puzzle, and they weren't getting the answers. So then they get stuck, they get paralyzed, and they wouldn't take action, and their financial life would meander and loiter in a bad place. So that's why we created this place. We have an employee benefit company, and it's called Your Money Line, and that's what it does. We help companies succeed by improving the financial lives of their most valuable asset. Not their break room, their employees. Everything we talk about is confidential, and you get access to a certified financial expert to get all your money questions answered, big or small. That's Your Money Line, so bring Your Money Line to your company. Check us out at yourmoneyline.com or any of the social networks you happen to deal with on a regular basis. Good day to you.
You're listening to Pete the Planner.
This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. First show of the new year. We took a week off to revel. I don't know. When I say we, I mean not just me, because I've got a large ego and I need to say we. There's others. And by others, I mean one. And that one other person is Damian Dunn, my brother from another mother, with the same last name, oddly enough. Vice President of Advice at Your Money Line. Damian, congrats on the promotion, my friend.
Hey now, listen to that, Vice President.
The funny thing is we were recording our last show of the year last year, and we were having your review later that day, where I was going to give you your promotion. And I almost, in recording the show, was going to tell you on air, but then that felt a little gauche. So I decided not to do it. Anyway, congrats. Well earned. How you doing? Good year? Things are good?
Yeah, so far this year's been pretty good. So we'll see if we can keep that going through today's episode.
Fantastic. No one cares. All right. So, Dame, this show works by people emailing us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com. If they have questions about IRAs, their 409ks, whatever, they email us and we answer those things. Dame, the first question is from a gentleman by the name of Christopher. And the subject line is IRA, mutual fund, mortgage question. Dear Pete, I have a scenario I was looking for a second opinion on. I have a wealth management advisor. Could you feel me do the air quotes on that, Dame?
Yeah, there was a nice little inflection there.
And then he names the company, which is primarily, just so everyone knows, a life insurance company. It's not that I don't trust them. Just think they might be inclined to have me keep as much money as possible with them. Is this a good, appropriate platform to ask a somewhat simple question for some free financial advice? So, Dame, oddly enough, we got this question a lot over the last 15 years, and so much so that we're going to answer that question for this gentleman today, but that's also why we're launching our consumer service in February, honestly.
Yeah, it's a nice little tie-in there.
I don't really want to use this show to promote our business, despite the fact that that's, probably a good idea. I'm not going to do it. We're going to mention it from time to time because we'd be silly not to extend the branch. But here's the thing, Dame, as you know, we are launching Hey Money in February. Hey Money is a access to financial experts to help you solve your financial problems. The average consumer will pay about $200 a year to have access to an expert whenever they want, and that expert will help guide their financial life for questions like mortgage questions or non-specific investment questions. We can answer IRA questions. We might not tell you exactly what to put in the IRA, but we can help you understand whether you get a Roth or a traditional, those sorts of things. Dame, there's a giant gap in the financial world where people aren't able to access really smart people to help them with very basic things. So therefore they don't do anything and are paralyzed with inaction.
Absolutely. And, this situation here for Chris, he's working with somebody right now, but he wants to check and just bounce it off somebody else and see if he can get an unbiased opinion on what is being suggested, or maybe just he wants to go a different way and see if there's any credibility to it. So that's stuff that we are happy to do. We love to do it. We do it all the time. And we are perfectly fit for this type of role.
Yeah, I like to explain it this way. If you think about our financial lives and the questions we have in our financial lives and the complexity of those questions and conundrums on a scale of 1 to 10, right? 1 being, how do I freeze my credit? Or, maybe 1 is, I don't have a budget. And 10 is, I have so much money, I'm trying to hide it with proper estate planning. Or should I get into a hedge fund because I'm an accredited investor? If that's the spectrum of questions and complexities, we believe the financial planning and investment management industry has done a wonderful job of serving people who are at complexities and questions 8 through 10. And we believe that there is a giant gap uh, of questions left unanswered and complexities left unexplored 1 through 7. And the reason we created Hey Money, launching in February, is to specifically serve people 1 through 7. And it is our belief that financial advisors aren't equipped / shouldn't have to / don't want to deal with 1 through 7 because they are trained to deal with 8 through 10. And Damian, it has taken me 15 years to figure out how to do this, and you've been in the financial industry a very long time. There's a very simple reason why financial advisors don't necessarily deal with 1 through 7. What has been your experiences to that?
Absolutely. Yeah, they can't do it because, well, as you know and I know, running a successful business is difficult enough, let alone trying to help people that really need the help. So um, these types of questions, the 1 through 7 questions, often get overlooked or bypassed by financial advisors because, well, they're trying to run a business, and those aren't the types of questions that they can make money on answering.
People sometimes they're like, well, I don't get it. Well, here's the thing. I've written 400 newspaper columns about 1 through 7. I've written 10 books about 1 through 7. I've done 11 years of radio about 1 through 7. And so 1 through 7 is most people's needs. If you've listened to this radio show more than just today, if you've listened to this podcast more than just today, all we ever talk about is 1 through 7 because that's the vast majority of people's financial concerns. So at least for this episode, Dame, I'm going to stop talking about this, but I will say this. And one last thing, and then I'm going to stop talking about it. If you want to be one of the first people to be able to sign up for Hey Money, go to PeteThePlanner.com/Hey Money. That's not hay as in horses. That is hey as in HEY, money, all one word. PeteThePlanner.com/Hey Money. Sign up for the launch list. The launch list is the only way you can access Hey Money for the first couple of weeks. We are not launching to the public. We're launching to this list, and it launches in early February. Dame, anything you want to add before I end what felt like a commercial, but really is just an exposure of what the financial industry has been lacking?
No, I was just waiting for Ron Popeil to come out and maybe launch into an extended version of this not commercial.
It's tough. Again, I have, in 11 years of doing radio, I've made it my point. I started the show so that I never said, call me on Monday. My biggest pet peeve about financial radio is, all right, the next question is from Jimmy. Jimmy, give us a call at 1-800 and we'll take care of you on Monday. Set up a free appointment. Like, I don't want to do that. I've never wanted to do that, and I've never done it. And so for us to talk about Hey Money is admittedly a little awkward because people aren't used to us talking about, hey, just give us a call or shoot us an email. Like, it as a client, right? We'll for years we've helped people for free, but now we're giving people a chance to formalize that relationship. So let's go ahead and answer the best we can Christopher's question as it relates to this. Yes, you can go to your wealth advisor and you can ask them those questions about mortgages and all that. I want everyone to talk to a financial expert about their mortgage or IRA questions. But if you are questioning whether that person has your best interest in mind, then there's a reason why you specifically are questioning that particular person. I'm not here to say that all financial advisors don't have your best interest in mind, but if you're asking yourself that question about your relationship with that person, Dame, don't you think that is a specific sign that you have some sort of magical intuition?
Yeah, I mean, we've all got that little voice inside of us. Sometimes it speaks louder than others, but if you are questioning the motives of the person you're working with, maybe it's time to take a step back and reevaluate things and make sure that the relationship is beneficial for you primarily and not just the advisor you're working with.
I remember when I was a teen and young adult and I would go to my dad and ask him some sort of question, whether it be some sort of philosophical or ethical question. He would often say to me, the mere fact that you're asking the question already gives you the answer. And so I think that's the same case with this email. So Dame, coming up after the break, no more mention of Hey Money, beattheplanner.com/Hey Money. And we will answer more financial questions. We got lots of current events and talking, of course, 409Ks. This is the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Back on the Pete the Planner Show, first show of the year. Dame, you did say you're well. Things are good. You got a promotion. How is your 409k balance at the end of last year? Do you get 80, 70, 90% returns?
At least 90%, maybe even more, but my 409k cleaning up.
Are we going to talk about the 409k thing or not? Are we just going to let it go?
What's there really to say? I mean, 409ks are everybody's best investment vehicle.
All right, Dame. So a couple weeks ago in the IBJ, I wrote a column about, wrapping up the decade. And I don't want to get too involved into, is this the end of a decade or the beginning of a decade? Like people, want to argue about the 2020 thing. I don't care. I'm calling it the end of the decade. And I'm curious. I was sitting back thinking, I was writing this column. I want to be able to predict how much money I should target having 10 years from today. And so what I did is I created two weird little formulas to help people figure out how much money they will have, what their goal should be, asset goal, 10 years from today. So Dame, you said you have not read this particular piece, so I can walk you through it and you can beat it up for the benefit of our dear listener.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Dame, there's two numbers we need to know here, right? We need to know how much your current assets will be worth, and then how much your future contributions will be worth in 10 years. Correct?
Yeah, I'm. Are you going with a static rate of return, or are you going to allow for a difference in that?
I am going with, and my particular formula is going for 8% average for both. Okay. And so, and let's, you're allowed to disagree with me. Are you okay with that, or would you prefer a different number?
8%'s okay, I think, for most people. We could argue that it might be better to be a little bit more conservative, but let's roll with 8. It'll make for flashier numbers.
Okay, so everyone's going to do this alongside of us here. So if you're listening via podcast, hit the pause button. It looks like two parallel lines. I don't know.
So it's an equal sign.
Sideways equal sign.
Oh, sideways.
An upright equal sign.
All right.
Okay, everyone, in your mind, add up all of your retirement assets. So don't add in your home equity and don't add in your savings account. I want your retirement, your long-term assets. All right. So Dame, I want you to do this too. And obviously I'm not going to have you give your number out, but are you there?
I got it.
Okay. You have a number.
I have a number.
Okay. I want you to take that number. Everyone take your total number of retirement assets, go to your calculator. You have your calculator up?
I didn't know there was going to be math.
Come on. This is important.
Got it. All right, here we go.
And I want you to multiply your number times 2.22. You got it? You got it?
Got it. Yep.
That is what your assets will be worth 10 years from today at an average 8% rate of return.
Okay.
And so as you think about that, I'm curious as to your reaction. You see that number at first glance. Does it feel / seem realistic to you?
I mean, it does to me, but I'm probably not the right person to ask because we're familiar with compounding interest and the time value of money and all that fun stuff. So I can see how this would be very surprising for some folks, but to me, it seems reasonable. Yeah.
What do you say to the folks who you often hear, and I often hear, who say, I get that my money's supposed to more than double every 10 years, but it never does. What do you say to those folks? How come I can never double my money in 10 years? How do you react to that? Because I have an answer. I'm just curious as to yours.
Oh, so the reason that typically happens is because of investor behavior that's happening inside of it, the accounts that's going on. So maybe you get nervous at some point and you change your investments around, or um, you do something that's maybe unadvisable for whatever reason, and you hamstring yourself because you change something up inside of that could be preventing you from getting that return that you want. Even just being out of the market for a handful of days could really hamper getting that average 8% return, or just your return in general. So I would try and find a way to delicately discuss investor behavior at that point.
What's really funny is when people ask that question and then, like you, I answer it the way you just did. You're basically saying it's your fault.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at industry research, and there are gobs of it on this topic about what the market's return versus what the average investor realizes in their accounts.
Huge gap. Huge gap.
It's a huge gap. Like 5% difference usually in some cases. Which, if we're talking 8%, now you're down to inflation, essentially, which is exactly what we're talking about here. And it's because you are either allocated incorrectly, or you made some moves that did not benefit you, even though you thought they were going to be what's in your best effort, or your best interest, I should say. And this brings us back, actually, in a weird way, back to advisors, because advisors can prevent you from doing things that will inadvertently hurt you in the long run. So we're not going to dwell here too long, but yeah, sometimes you're your own worst enemy as an investor.
So if you just took your long-term assets that you have set aside right now and you multiplied by 2.22, then that's what I believe you will have 10 years from now. Now, Dame, what we also need to do is we need to calculate how much you will have set aside, plus the interest off of that, plus the earnings off of that, of your current and future income over those same 10 years. Now, this was a little trickier of a calculation I came up with, but I'm going to show it to you all the same. So, Dane, what I need you to do, I need you to take your current income, your salary, if you will. If you want to put a bonus in there, feel free. And I need you to multiply that number by 2.28 on your calculator. Multiply that number by 2.28.
So my annual salary, plus whatever bonus that I'm contractually obligating you to pay me.
That's right. Times 2.28. Okay.
Got it.
Now here's what I can't do with this particular formula. I'm not accounting for raises. Dame, this is not me telling you you're not getting a raise for the next 10 years. But in order to try to come up with these sort of formulas, I can't just assume a person gets a 3% raise. It just doesn't work that way. But what I'm saying is, if you just take the product of the number you just came up with and add it to the other one, I believe that to be your asset total 10 years from today. So to recap, take your long-term investments that you have right now, multiply by 2.22. Then take your current income right now, current annual income, and multiply by 2.28. And whatever that number is, add it to your asset number. And that is what I believe you to have in 10 years. What do you think about the number you came up with?
I'm trying to figure out the salary times 2.28. I'm trying to figure out that
you're trying to figure out the magic behind it. It's a 15% contribution. It's a 15% gross contribution of your income to your. And so, with your situation or people who have a 2-income household, it is obviously helpful to calculate it that way as well. But I believe on average, the average person should be putting about 15% of their gross pay, their pre-tax, pre-benefit pay, away for retirement. And that also includes, by the way, their employer contributions. They could put in 11 and their employer could put in 4 or whatever, but the gross is 15. And that's how I came up with that 2.28. Interesting, huh?
That is
Took
interesting.
me a while.
You spent some time with spreadsheets this break, didn't you?
More than I told you I wasn't going to work, and then you and I texted about spreadsheets. So go figure. All right, Dame, coming up after the break, we're going to take some questions. Ask Pete at PeteThePlanner.com. That's Ask Pete at PeteThePlanner.com. This is the Pete the Planner Show, and I'm Pete the Planner. Back on the Pete the Planner Show. Dame, got a question from a guy named Eric. Dear Pete, I probably know the answer, but any input is appreciated. The subject line, I read your Yahoo article about 2 checking accounts.
Yahoo?
USA Today somehow pushes my articles to Yahoo, and I don't know, man.
Okay.
I don't even try to understand it anymore. I'm going to be honest. I have an off-the-air story for you later. All right. I went through a 3.5-year divorce that was finalized. Oh, I'm reading an email. I went through a 3.5-year divorce that was finalized in August of 2018. I'm going to call it quick time out here. Dame, what's a 3.5-year divorce? Is it what I think it is?
I'm hoping somebody was in a coma for a while and they just couldn't sign paperwork.
That's dark. I wouldn't even have said that. 3.5-year divorce. That sounds awful.
Yeah. That 3.5-year divorce probably took 5 years off your life.
How long do you think a marriage is if you have a 3.5-year? What if you had like a 1-year marriage and a 3.5-year divorce? Well, that means you'd have a 4.5-year marriage.
It's true.
I sounds like we're making fun of this, and we probably are, but I feel bad. That's awful. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No, right. Anyway, I remarried, and I went back to the well. I remarried in November of 2018. My wife and I have worked together since 2009. I'm starting to do some math. We did not do a prenuptial because we have a similar financial situation after splitting my assets in my divorce. Wouldn't that have been splitting our assets?
Yeah.
We are both 42 years old. Same. Together, we have made $1.25 to $1.9 million a year since 2012. By the way, this also explains the 3.5-year divorce.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it becomes clear.
Okay. All right. I love this. All right. Where I lost my place. Before we started our personal relationship in 2016, in my eyes, she was not good with her money. Explanation, she made $500 to $750 a year, but the only assets she had were some real estate investments. I had her do with me and $150,000 in her checking accounts. She would spend money on nannies, extra cars, $75,000 sport court in our backyard. Man, this is a good email. And she has a closet of designer clothes, 40 Louis Vuitton purses. Ever since we have been personally together, she has completely changed. Her spending is nothing. Now she has bought no purses, shoes. She's selling her Lexus and Infiniti to buy a GMC. And she barely buys any clothes. Trying to figure out what to do. In the past year, I've grown my assets and done multiple investments by $500,000 plus. I've asked if she would like to add money or participate, but she doesn't want to take on the risk. Between her checking accounts, she has at least $500,000 of cash. We each have a true net worth of about $3 to $3.25 million. My problem is that I know she doesn't really want to work. Neither do I at my job either. We combined really only to have, I don't know what that says. Anyway, the industry our work is in will slowly go away with technology over the next 10 years. I continue to buy and invest in commercial properties and finance flippers. My net worth will continue to go up more every year, but she will eventually level off. Together with 5 kids in private school and 12 weeks vacationing, we spend about $300,000 a year. In 5 years, I see myself having an $8 million net worth, and she may have a $4 million net worth. She has 3 kids. I have 2, all between 17 to 12 years old. Underneath, I just say, first world problems. Do you have thoughts about our situation?
Yeah.
Man. What?
I mean, that's
some stuff, bro.
Yeah.
What say you?
it was just like, thank you. It's every turn was even more of a head scratcher. I'm really curious as to the complete 180 on the behavior change of his wife.
Okay, I have a theory on that. And by the way, that's the first time I've read that email. So a lot of times when we do the show, I don't like to preview the email because I want to react as everyone else is. I have a theory. I think that she probably went through clearly a divorce. It was a nasty divorce, a come to Jesus moment, if you want. And I think she came to her senses. I think she had the opportunity to turn over a new leaf, and she did.
Okay. Yeah. So he gives us a amount that he spends each year, $300K for 5 kids in private school, plus vacations and on and on and on. That number is going to get smaller, but not probably as quickly as is what they might like, because college is around the corner for 5 kids, and if they're in private school, they're gonna have to pay for the college for their kids. They're not going to get any kind of aid. But that number will get smaller naturally. So the question to me is, how long are the jobs they have actually going to be there versus the length of time they're going to run these expenses?
That's wild, right?
Yeah. Because let's say private school is running, and we have no idea where they're at or what school they're in, but private school in my neck of the woods can go anywhere from $6,000 a year to about $23,000 a year. So they could have $100,000 in private school costs easily.
Well, he said
for high school.
He said that between vacations and private school, they're paying $300 a year.
Oh, I thought, my mistake. I thought all of their expenses in total were $300 a year, not just the vacations and the school.
Again. Okay. Together with 5 kids in private school and 12 weeks vacationing, we spend about $300,000 a year. And I think that's their total expenses. I think you're right. That's total expenses, not just private school and vacation. But I think that's everything. I think if nothing else, this situation illustrates that no matter your income level, you still have to budget. These people seemingly have all the money in the world, yet the reality is there's still some scarcity. Now, you could judge them for doing it differently than you do, but there's really no practicality in that. You can still learn something from the situation.
Yeah, in this case, I totally agree. A budget would be fantastic, but they are. He anticipates their jobs going away. I don't know if he's got a good handle on how far away that time is, but now you start to work backwards. Okay, we want to have this type of lifestyle. We anticipate it's going to cost us this much. We're going to need to save, or have saved by this point, whatever nest egg that looks, and you're going to have to determine how that money needs to be saved. Clearly, you can't do it all in 401ks for multiple reasons, or IRAs. So are you going to fund that need, that monthly cash flow need, with more commercial properties that this gentleman is currently investing in? Are you going to do it with some stocks? How are you going to get to that point? You need to start by working backwards. Figure out the type of lifestyle you want, how much is it going to cost to keep you there, and then work backwards.
I agree. I feel like, how much longer are they going to be spending at that level? And then whatever it levels out to be once the kids are out of school, just making sure that the assets can generate that level of income in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Or they can go learn to drive a truck, I guess.
What percentage of our listeners will only take away, must be nice, from this situation versus there's something to be learned there? What percentage will take away negative things as opposed to positive things?
Way too many, because this could very easily be a blue collar family that is truck drivers, and there's a lot of upheaval in that industry right now. So if you think that you may be out of a job in the near future, or that maybe not the near future, but a little ways down the road, start thinking about what that next step is.
It's funny. People love to see people at low income levels get a second chance, but they really don't extend that same sort of empathy towards people at a higher income level receiving a second chance. But anyway, thanks for the email. Interesting. Coming up after the break, biggest waste of money of the week and the news. I'm Pete the Planner. This is the show. This week's biggest waste of money of the week, the BWAM, right here on the Pete the Planner Show, is all right, Dave. The Keep Secure Stash Box. Most cannabis storage solutions are far from discreet, and even more tasteful options lack security. Keep delivers on both fronts. Its sleek design looks more like an alarm clock than a stash box. It even has an LED display to show the time and outdoor temperature. The interior has a built-in scale, clear containers to keep things organized, and temperature and humidity monitors. A companion app allows for secure locking, unlocking, and monitoring of the box over Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. A rechargeable battery lets it travel with ease, and a hermetic seal keeps any odors at bay. It's $199.
Well,
is that my computer fan blowing? Is that what that noise is?
I don't know.
Yeah, man, boy,
sounds like a chair.
I have the loudest fan on the planet. That's fun. That makes for good radio.
Well, it's ambient noise.
So everyone, we're landing an airplane right now, doing the segment from our private jet. Dame, okay, here's the thing with a drug hiding box. I have a lot of questions because this is not particular my culture. One, would you put a CBD cream in this box too? Like, I don't know. Do you, like, if I have a CBD lip balm, do you put that in the stash box?
No.
Okay.
Stop.
Also, oh no, So I'm actually kind of serious. Why would I need a stash box? Let's say I had the drugs. I was into the drugs. Why would I need a stash box?
You got kids, don't you? You want to be a responsible drug owner.
They don't know where the lighters are, though.
You think they don't know where the lighters are.
So you think a stash box... Okay, a serious question. A stash box, in your estimation here, is if you have the drugs and your kids are around and you don't want them to have some of the drugs.
I mean, that's the most polite way to... I mean, yeah, you want to keep it out of sight, hidden away. If the police were to happen to stop by, you want to make sure that's not obvious. I don't know. This isn't clearly my culture either. What would you put in a stash box?
Probably my Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card.
Oh.
And my Walter Payton rookie card.
Nice.
What would you put in your stash box?
Spoils from my last trip to Colorado. I don't know.
Oh my. See, Dame, other news this week. I had Mrs. Planer explain this to me last night at the dinner table. The whole, the Royals thing, the Harry, is Harry the Ginger? Is that right?
I think
Prince
so.
Harry and then Meghan Markle? Markle? I'm going to leave it at this. Who cares? Like, literally, who cares? Like, I asked her, and I was like, hey, Sarah, I know people are talking about, Mrs. Planner, people are talking about this. I want to know what's going on because I don't care. And then she explained it thoroughly, very thoroughly. And I was like, God, who cares? Why does anyone care?
Have you seen some of the memes going around?
No,
about,
I don't care.
A couple bravely vows to move out on their own after amassing $30 million. And there's some pretty good stuff. Yeah, people will flood you on Twitter with it now, I'm sure.
Man, I just don't care. Dame, did you know Taco Bell will try paying managers $100,000 a year, but In-N-Out Burger already pays their managers $160,000 a year? Taco Bell said it will start the six-figure salary pilot later this year, but did not name an exact date. The company does not yet know how many managers at its 450 company-owned stores will get the $100K. and how long will offer the higher salaries. Current salaries for general managers at Taco Bell's company-owned stores range from $50,000 to $80,000. Dame, would you be a manager at a Taco Bell for $100,000? This is awkward.
Is somebody offering?
No, well, we don't know the exact dates and locations.
Oh, well, we'll talk about this off the air.
The six-figure salaries will make Taco Bell an outlier in the food service industry. The median salary for general and operations managers in the industry was $59,000 in 2018, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. At Burger King, restaurant managers have an average base pay of $45,000. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what Chick-fil-A managers make. I mean, they work 6 days a week.
True.
Here's the thing: In-N-Out Burger is delicious. The burgers are delicious. $160,000.
They are worth every penny.
They'd make more if the fries were good.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah.
Didn't we eat at an In-N-Out Burger together once?
We absolutely
Where were
did.
we?
I
Were we
was
in California?
Arizona.
It was delicious. Was that your first trip to an In-N-Out Burger?
Oh, no. But it had been a solid 2 decades since I'd been to one, though.
Other current events this week. There's 15 great summer jobs for teens.
Yeah, let's see how many of these that we've had each between the two
I like
of us.
this. Camp counselor. Have you been a camp counselor?
Nope.
I think I have in some capacity. So I'm going to go maybe. Golf.
Well,
go ahead.
I mean, I was going to say, yeah, so like basketball camp,
Yes,
does that count? The high school basketball camps? Okay, then yeah. I've
golf
done
caddy. Yes, of course,
Yes.
who hasn't? Retail salesperson. Yes.
that. No.
Really?
Nope.
Food service worker. No. Intern. Yes. Who hasn't been an intern? Have you been an intern?
I don't know if I actually have or not.
Gosh, I need to check your resume. You're not qualified. Lifeguard. No, I can't swim and I'm pasty white.
No, I have not.
Nanny. No, but I babysat.
Babysat, that would, yeah.
Housekeeper. What? Who wants a teen housekeeper? This starts to feel like it's. Who came up with this?
My dad owned a commercial janitorial business, so I did my fair share of cleaning. Not houses necessarily, but I may have had the odd cleaning job in high school that was my responsibility entirely.
Gardener. Here's the thing. I did a lot of landscaping back in the day, but I wouldn't have called myself a gardener. That's a little intense. That's a little coastal.
Okay. No, I've never been paid for my gardening skills.
Have you ever tutored in anything? No? Not as a high school kid. Did you ever?
Only trying to
woo a young lady,
maybe impress a woman, maybe.
Computer guru. You know what? This is the only one on this list that actually makes a lot of modern sense here. Teens just go to their grandparents' house. Their grandparents are like, "How do I get the files out of the computer?" One of those things. That's a good one.
Exactly.
What is that from Zoolander? The files are in the computer.
I think so.
Freelance writer. I'm going to be honest. I don't want to read the writing of a teen. I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a pretty small market.
Plant and pet sitter. That's good. I've done that, right? You've done that.
Yeah,
eBay
sure.
seller. They're just asking for petty theft at this point. That's a pretty good one, though. Like, go to your parents and be like, let's clean out this space and I'm going to sell it on eBay and I'll split the proceeds with you. Yes.
I don't think I've ever
sold anything. Oh my gosh, I used to sell stuff all the time.
Bought stuff, but I don't think I've ever. Oh, you know what? I have. Yeah, I have. I totally
did people keep that stuff in their stash box?
Way too big. They were a set of wheels.
Here's the other thought with the stash box. You must have to take the drugs pretty seriously if you have a $199 stash box in which you could use that $199 to buy more of the drugs.
But if it's hermetically sealed and it keeps odors out, you then could potentially travel with it.
More. Finally, movie theater worker. I never worked at a movie theater.
I didn't either. We had one small theater in my hometown, and one of my better friends and all going through school, his uncle owned it, and so I think I was behind the counter a couple times.
You know, there's
but I never
a small
worked
town, I
there.
think it's Winchester, Indiana, northern Indiana, that their movie theater is called the ISIS Theater, ISIS. Oh
That's
man, it
unfortunate.
is wildly unfortunate. That's all we have time for. Sending good vibes because good vibes are all that's in the budget. Thanks, Dame. This is the Pete the Planner Show, and I'm Pete the Planner.